Jim, just start with team news. Any fresh ins and outs Monday?
No injuries to report after the game the other night, but we've had one or two of the injured boys out with the physio this morning, just doing little bits and pieces to see if we can make them available for Monday night's game. So I can't confirm anything at the moment, but I would expect to have hopefully a couple of extra bodies added to the squad.
How delighted are you to get Jay on that new deal?
Yeah, really pleased. Obviously, the wee man's been training with the first team since I came in. Really, we sent him out on loan at the beginning of the season to Clyde, and it didn't quite work out as well as we would have liked in terms of the amount of game time that he got. We brought him back in January. He's trained really, really well, and has earned the opportunity that he was given in the first team in terms of making his debut and then making his first start on Wednesday night. And yeah, we've been talking to him now for a little while about the contract situation, about where we see Jay playing a big part in the future, and delighted that he agreed. And it's all done this morning, and it's another good bit of progress from the academy, and that's obviously something that we speak about on a regular basis, how important the academy is to our first team. And we've had a number of success stories in recent years, and hopefully Jay will be another one.
How important is it when you're trying to sign young players and get them to commit to the club that you can point to the likes of John McGinn and Kenny McLean and the success that they've had in their career in order to convince them that St Mirren is the place for them to develop their careers?
Yeah, well, again, I think it's something that I've spoken about previously when we were talking about Dylan Reid. That is a big selling point for us when we're talking to the parents of these kids and talking to the agents, and young players get an opportunity at St Mirren. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how old they are. If we believe they're good enough, then we'll throw them in, and we've proven that already this year. We've had Lewis Jameson has made his debut. Lewis is out at Clyde now at the moment, banging in goals for them. We've given a debut to Dylan Reid, obviously, a debut to Jay Henderson, and also a debut on Wednesday night to Daniel Finlayson. Now, Daniel is obviously on loan from Rangers at the moment, but we have a contract in place for Daniel and an agreement with Rangers where he'll join up with us on a full-time basis in the summer. So it's a big, big part of the club. It's something, as I've said in the past, that I want to be recognised for as well as a young manager. I want to give young lads an opportunity. I want to help develop them and help them get on in their careers. And it's been very successful this year in terms of the number of boys that have made their debuts. Has
the COVID sort of situation meant that the need for clubs to sort of rear their own has become even greater? The spare cash to go out and sort of recruit players is probably going to be sort of less than ever. If you've got players that are good enough within your own setup, is that going to make it more pressing to turn to them than try to recruit elsewhere?
Listen, I think it's always got to be in the back of every club's mind. There's no point investing the level of finances into academies if your first team manager or coach is not willing to give them the opportunity. We do spend a lot of money on the academy every year, and the guys up at Ralston are doing great things. Led by Alan McManus, who's our academy director. And but it is pointless putting all that hard work into place if there's no pathway there for them. And that's something I'm big on. In the couple of years I've been in, it's something that we're always trying to develop and improve on. And we get as many of the lads, the young kids, over as possible to train with the first team. And as you said, from a financial point of view and a business model, it makes sense because hopefully they break into the first team at a young age, do really well, and then in a couple of years down the line, they move on to maybe a bigger club, but we get the financial rewards off the back of it. So the business model is there. It's something that, as I said, I'm very keen to do anyway. And I work closely with Alan McManus on that. And I'm actually heading to an under-18s game this afternoon. They play Celtic over at Clyde's ground in Cumbernauld, and it's something I take a real keen interest in. It's not just about the first team for me; it's about every age group, and it's important that I know the 18-year-olds and the 16-year-olds that are coming through for my recruitment as well, because I don't want to sign someone in the summer that's potentially going to block up the pathway from one of our younger lads coming through. So it's a real balancing act. You need that experience in any squad, but you also need the young, hungry, ambitious boys as well. And we've got a good blend of that at the moment.
Just on Monday night's game, how much more of a different proposition are Kilmarnock than perhaps when you faced them previously in the season? I mean, I think they're struggling to score goals from most of the season, but now I think it's 18 in the last 6 games. Kyle Lafferty obviously on fire at the moment.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've got a lot of respect for Tommy Wright, and any time I faced any of his St Johnstone teams in the couple of seasons I've been here, always been very difficult. Very, very well organised. A top manager. He's had great success at St Johnstone, and I've got no doubt he'll have similar successes at Kilmarnock. Obviously you're always sad to see somebody losing their job, and Alex Dyer is a really, really good guy as well. But sometimes a different voice, a different person at the helm can make a big difference to the same group of players. And Lafferty's probably the only real change that Kilmarnock have made, but it's been a great signing. There's no doubt about it. He's a top player, is Lafferty. He's one that I looked at when I first came in a couple of seasons ago, but he chose to go abroad. And he's came back to Kilmarnock. He's been very, very influential in the recent success that they've had. I think they've won 4 of the last 5 games as well. As you said, they're scoring at will now at the moment as well. Lafferty with a hat-trick the other night. So, look, we're under no illusions about how difficult the game is going to be. We know it's going to be tough. Not only have they got Lafferty, but, you've got Chris Burke there, who's, even at his age, is still one of the best attacking players. Power in the middle of the park, Broadfoot at the back. They've got good experience there. And they've got players who have played at a top level, who know how to win in big games. So we have to be very wary of that. But we had a good performance against that similar group of players last time out in the league, and we'll be hoping for the same again on Monday night.
Jim, just to go back on Daniel Finlayson, I know you've obviously signed him at the start of the season. Has it been a test of patience for him? Was he signed as a first-team player, or one for the future?
No, one for the future. And we had that conversation with Daniel and his representatives, and we explained the project that we had and what we were looking for from Daniel. It was never about Daniel coming in and getting 15 or 20 first team games. We wanted him to come in and train with senior pros on a daily basis and compete against the likes of Obika and Erwin and Dennis and Learn. He can play centre half, or he can play right back. He can also play right centre half in a back 3. So he covers a number of positions in the defensive area. He had a really good loan period out at Orange County. Rangers have got a tie-in out there with Orange County, and it was a very, very successful loan period. I watched a number of his games on YouTube, and he caught the eye just with his energy, his athleticism, his professionalism. He's one that we are looking at the moment as another type of Marcus Fraser kind of player, a Jason Naismith type, one that's going to be hopefully go on and have a very successful career. And Daniel is one of a number of young lads in the squad at the moment, as we've all spoke about there. Jay Henderson, Dylan Reid, Lewis Jameson. There's a number of them training with the first team on a regular basis, and they're learning every day, which is the most important thing.
It's coming up to award season as well. Is your Physios magic sponge going to get? I mentioned Colin Quaynor back a month earlier than I know you rolled him out for the season. Same with Dennis. I mean, good to have him back, all things considered.
Yeah, well, look, it's a very, very important position at any club. The physiotherapist and the sports scientist. I put a lot of trust in my staff and in the medical department in particular. Kevin is not one of these tentative physios that you sometimes find in the modern day game, where players can dictate to physios and tell them when they're fit. It's the other way around here. Kevin reassures the players and as I said, gets them back a lot earlier than sometimes what the specialists will anticipate. So they get the best of care here. They get all the scans and everything that they need, and any kind of reassurance they get given. And obviously the rehab programs that they're on are exceptional, and that's why we're getting the boys back a lot sooner than what we thought. Obviously, Colin has been a different kind of kettle of fish. He didn't have a pre-season. He hadn't done a great deal 5 months prior to coming in. So we always knew that was going to be a risk in January, and we just hoped that we would be able to keep him fit. But the big man hasn't carried a great deal of luck. But for anybody that watched the game on Wednesday night and saw his appearance there for 25 minutes, half an hour, it was exceptional, and that's why he's managed to play in the Bundesliga. That's why he's played in the English Premier League. If he can stay fit between now and the end of the season, then hopefully he'll be a big player for us, and he'll help us go far in the Scottish Cup. And you never know, if he helps us win the Scottish Cup, then all will be forgiven.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about Colin, the impact he made on Wednesday. Do you think he's fit enough to start if you need him on Monday?
Without giving too much away about my team selection on Monday night, it's highly unlikely that Colin will start. He trained on Monday and Tuesday this week. We kind of took a little bit of a gamble on him on Wednesday, because if Colin hadn't to travel, then we would have only had 15 available players. He was willing to come up and give it a go. And I'm delighted that he did, because, he came off the bench at 1 each and made a huge difference in the outcome of the game. He contributed massively in the 2 goals. So, we just hope that we can wrap him in cotton wool between now and Monday, and try and get the next 7 games, hopefully. But we've got 3 league games in the quarter-final, but hopefully it'll be, or 6 games even. Hopefully we've got 6 games left, and the big man can play a big part in those games between now and the end of it.
Yeah, and obviously up front, you've been a bit short. You've got Eamon and Jonathan have got their injury problems. Are them going to be back at all?
It's unlikely that Eamon or John will be available, but we identified a problem area for ourselves in January, and that was at the top end of the pitch, where we weren't scoring enough goals. And we invested heavily in the likes of Brophy and Quainer. Unfortunately, we just haven't been able to get them fit. But I think people realise that we signed 2 quality players, and if we had Quainer and Brophy available, and it's no disrespect to the other 3 strikers that we've got, Obika, Irwin and Dennis, but if we had the likes of Brophy and Quainer available and had 5 really good strikers to choose from, then we wouldn't have missed the top 6 by 2 goals. It's as simple as that. So we knew there was a problem. We brought in real quality, but sometimes if things are out with your control, we can't do anything about boys picking up injuries. So it is what it is. We want to finish 7th in the league, and we want to go and win the Scottish Cup, and that's what our ambitions are between now and the end of the season.
Yeah, and talking about strikers, you mentioned Kyle Lafferty earlier. Do you have any special plans to deal with him, considering how on form he is at the moment, and especially you haven't Rugby Park hasn't been a happy hunting ground for you in recent times?
No, that's fair to say. I mean, our record down there isn't brilliant. I would much rather the game be played out here on a nice grass pitch, but I think we've had the AstroTurf debate for the last few years. I'm not the biggest lover of it, but it is what it is. We've had to train on Astro for a number of weeks now because we've had problems with our training pitch. So it won't be a problem to our players going down there and playing on that surface. With regards to Lafferty, he's a top player. He's played at a really high level throughout his career. He's Northern Ireland international, but I've got every faith in my defenders that they'll be able to manage him on the day. And in fairness to the back lads, they've always seemed to do really well against some of the so-called bigger and better players in the league. And both sets of the old firm team, Celtic and Rangers, they've always done well against Morelos and Edouard this year in the main. And we need another big performance against Lafferty. There's no doubt about it. But we also need to try and stop the supply to Lafferty, and that means taking care of the likes of Burke and those around him. So there's a hell of a lot more than just Kyle Lafferty we need to worry about. But I'm not going to overly concern ourselves with Kilmarnock. We have to concentrate on what we're good at, concentrate on the things that have been a success for us this season. And if we go there in the right mindset, confident and full of belief, then we give ourselves a great chance of progressing.
Great, thanks very much.